Well, hello there. Hopefully that introduction wasn't. Let's see. Welcome to the new studio here, by the way. Thanks to Tara Mewis for coming to Nashville from Saskatoon all the way just to set up this amazing place, turning this room into something we can use for live broadcasts and recordings. So the reason for this video is really straightforward. If you've been a member of Founders Pack or you've been kind of following what we've been doing with Founders Pack, the beginning of that was the writing of a book that has been sitting on the sidelines for a long time. And tomorrow, October 31st, yes, Halloween, Form Your Own Pack is out. And many of you who are close to me know that I've been texting people over the weekend saying, hey, this is coming out on Tuesday on Amazon. I'm self-publishing this. So I really appreciate people who have agreed to either provide a review of the book on Amazon or have pre-purchased it. So thank you to all of you very much. It's really amazing. I don't love promoting stuff that I've built. It's like this. This is kind of weird for me, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yes, I'm wearing a suit in my home. I did this on Saturday too. I'm going to do it every day this week because why not? It's my work, so let's do it. So what is Form Your Own Pack? I know I've got a lot of questions from people about how I wrote it, how long it took. Will I have an Audible? And I'm going to answer all those things. I'll also give you a preview of stuff that's coming up this week, not just for the launch of the book, but for Founders Pack. And I guess just not this week, but for the month. So tomorrow, October 31st, Halloween is the release of Form Your Own Pack. And what is Form Your Own Pack? So really, it's the story of the Japanese keiretsu in particular. So this is a business model in Japan. It's really a conglomerate model that I was inspired by, and I'm shocked to find that people don't know about. And I think a lot of really interesting characteristics of the keiretsu are worth looking at. So it explores the characteristics of the keiretsu and what makes Japanese companies so successful as a result of it. It also looks at some of the dark sides to that culture. And it says, hey, let's reimagine this for the startup age, for Gen AI. And what we encourage now is reimagine it and form your own pack. So let's reimagine it as a wolf pack. Put it together as more of a small, nimble teams that assemble as they're needed. And you basically assemble a group of wolves, and wolves kind of eat what they hunt. Right, so they go out, they find customers and investors, and they adapt to a hostile environment. And so that's really the idea behind Form Your Own Pack. And we say that there's 3 wolves in your pack: a community of customers, partnerships that you would have, and then a mastermind of investors and advisors. And so the book is out tomorrow. I'm kind of excited about it. I'm a little nervous because it's a launch, but I guess I'm not really nervous. It's more. I'm just glad it's out. It's been sitting on the sideline, and I get stuck in perfectionism. I don't know if you're like that. And I keep editing and adding to it and changing it. It's been a long time. I wrote the initial book. This is a big question I get. How did you write this? And my process is really pretty simple. I followed this on my first book, Automate and Grow. I created an outline of essentially the chapters of the book and the big ideas in it. I wrote an introduction. And then what I did for 30 days was every day I forced myself, and sometimes you write some really bad stuff, but I forced myself to write 5 pages. So at the end of 30 days, you've got 150 pages. And that's in a Google Doc. So what that translates to is if you format it into a 6x9 book, you probably have about 200, 250 pages by the time you're done, depending on when you add, subtract, edit. Editing is the most painful thing because you're going over and over and you get really, either overly critical or it means nothing to you. So you go through these different emotional phases when you're editing, and it does help to have other people look at it. So thank you to everyone who I sent a early copy to and got feedback from. Some of you jumped on to Zoom with me. Some of you sent written feedback, all amazing. Do I think this is the perfect book yet? No, you never will. And I think that there's probably a revision in the future. Although I said that with Automating Chrome, I didn't really do that. So that's how I kind of got to that point. And the other thing I did was, the final thing was I started reading the book. And I'm actually going to, record for Audible, because that's another question I get. Are you going to have it on audiobook? Yes, I'm going to read for Audible. I think it's always better when the author reads it. I was tempted for a brief minute to get someone else to do the Audible, but in the end, I'm just going to read it for the Audible. I think I'm just figuring out the process of doing that. Because it's self-published, I kind of rely on myself a little bit to promote it and to create everything. So, sometimes you got some learning curve. So really, that's Form Your Own Pack is going to be on Audible. The Kindle is out now for pre-purchase. I don't know why the paperback was not available for pre-purchase, but you can purchase it tomorrow, October the 31st. I know a lot of people prefer paperback. What I will do too is I want to show you how you write reviews on Amazon, because for me, it was surprisingly complicated. Maybe I'm just not that smart. I don't know. So I do want to show that. Let's just see if I'm going to share Amazon. So this is the landing page. I pre-ordered it October 5th. Okay, great. So, there's the Kindle version. It's $9.99. People say, I don't have a Kindle. Well, I don't know. I've never had a Kindle, but I read books on the Kindle app, or on the cloud app, as they call it, on Amazon. So if you want just a digital copy of it, that's what I do. If you want a paperback copy, I think magically tomorrow it will appear. And then there is a hard copy coming out. I had some problems with the formatting. Thank you to Elena, who designed the cover, did a great job on that. And we had a little bit of challenge figuring out how to format it, but I think we finally sorted it out yesterday. We did. So I think the hardcover comes out on the November 4th or 5th. I'll double check on that. And then, when you review a book, and I don't think this is eligible yet to be reviewed, but, tomorrow it will be. What you would do is you would, if you go into the book, this is what I had to find out the hard way, is you scroll down to book reviews, which is interesting. And then I think you go write a customer review. Seems simple, but it's kind of buried on the screen. So I figured I would point that out. You always put 5 stars for this. And it's not that there's such thing as a 5-star book, and I've said this to people, but it really helps to indicate that you appreciate the effort that's in, and the ideas that are in the book. So I'm not saying I'm a perfect writer and this is the perfect book, but I'm pretty happy with the message that's in it. And the message is that, we as humans are the most successful pack hunters in the universe, or, well, the known universe, the world, on the earth, and that our success as a species is a result of 2 things: our ability to develop tools, and technology being tools, and then our ability to cooperate in large numbers. And an example of that in business is the Keiretsu. And the Keiretsu has these 5 or 6 really interesting characteristics. And the Keiretsu is basically this conglomerate model where there's these independently operating entities. They usually have the same brands. So you know them as Mitsubishi, Matsushita, Sumitomo. Those are Mitsui. These are some of the large Keiretsu in Japan. And they'll operate in different industries and verticals independently. But then they cooperate, and they have cross shareholdings. So there's incentive across the company. So it's tightly held. There's usually a public float, and they organize around a common good, like a common asset, like real estate or banking, that they all need. And then they'll actually do some interesting things. Every Friday they have CEO lunch clubs. So they have a mastermind between CEOs where they'll, in a private environment, share feedback and try to help each other. And they have these things called trading companies, and the trading companies have interesting stories in there. They're the Soga Shosha, and I think I found 1 typo in the whole book. So if you can find it, let me know, and it relates to that. There's one typo in the whole book. I found it. So see if you can find it. If you find it and you send me a note, I'll figure out something fun to send you, maybe a hardcover copy. And the trading companies would assume risks. They would open up markets, and they would help finance deals, and they would take a very small sliver of a lot of transactions on Keiretsu transactions. And yeah, so those are some of the characteristics that in particular are really beneficial. I say, hey, let's learn from this. And when we're starting startup ventures, let's reimagine this. And then I share examples uh, from the last 20, 30 years of organizations and projects that have similar characteristics, which I think make them successful. And then I go through kind of the different aspects of how you can form your own pack. I'm going to share this. This is let's see if it comes up here. So this is the book cover designed by Elena. Two wonderful quotes on the back. Thank you to Nick Sonnenberg and Mike Koenigs for providing quotes for the back of the book. That is amazing. And then Elena Ube, if any of you have worked with Elena, she's a phenomenal designer, UI, UX. If you have projects, I'm sure she would love to talk to you, or I would love to help you out with your project on designing UI, UX. Not so much necessarily graphic stuff, but she is very good at that as well. She also designed, a bunch of apps, including ops.ai. So she did all the UI for ops.ai. So that's just another little thing that she's done. And then let's see if I can pull up the actual print version of the book that you will be getting and show you the table of contents. So great shout out to the team that did the actual design of the inside of the book. They took a pretty very inconsistent, what I would call manuscript for the book that I gave them. So I probably have crazy formatting all over the place, and they did an amazing job on that. So thank you and shout out to them. If you need someone to do a layout for your book, highly recommend them, and I'm happy to provide their contacts. Let's see if I can figure this out. Oh, here we go. So this is the PDF, and this is what you'll see inside of the book. Table of contents, real quick overview, preface, and then introduction, of course. Talk about the power of the pack, and that's where we talk about humans and evolution and then other animals, examples of how pack hunting is more effective than an individual. We talk specifically about the Keiretsu as an example in business and the characteristics of the Keiretsu. And then we look at how in general packs win and how that, a lot of these 6 or 7 examples, I can't remember if it's 6 or 7, including Google, Amazon, Wu-Tang Clan, PayPal Mafia, Y Combinator, how they all have characteristics that mirror those of the Keiretsu, and that we can kind of create our own pack, our own Keiretsu that benefits, whatever our vision is for the world. And speaking of vision, chapter 4 is having a common vision, predicting the future for your pack, and talk about how important that is. And we've seen where the vision was wrong, and where the vision, how you come up with a vision that you can share with your pack to pull people in to build, kind of a common view of the world and pursue a common mission. Talk about the 3 types of wolves that I see in your pack. So, community of customers, partnerships, and a mastermind of advisors and investors. And then the culture of your pack, how that's really important, and how you can establish what you want the culture of the pack to be, and how you can put that out there, and how that will attract the right people and groups into your pack. And then your pack standard operating procedures, like, okay, well, how are we going to do this? What's the day-to-day? What's my role? What do you expect of me? And I think that's really important. And the final part is, this final chapter is really around, especially particularly in the cross shareholdings and cooperation between entities and creating incentive, you want somewhere to operate from. You want either a personal holding company or a fund of some sort, and kind of talk about examples of that and the steps that you can take to do that. And that's basically form your own pack. I'm really happy with the formatting, as I mentioned. Amazing job by that team. Wasn't super expensive either. There are some pictures in here too. So there's different stories, but there are graphics. Where are the graphics? Oh, there we go. Wow, it took me a little while. Page 29 for the first graphic. This relates back to World War II, which the Keiretsu came out of. You'll learn about that. There's a really interesting story around Nike and how Nike would not exist if it were not for the practices of the Keiretsu. So I highlight that. I pull that right from Shoe Dog. So giving shout out to Shoe Dog. and particularly the Japanese trading company, and I always say this incorrectly, but Niso. I need someone Japanese to help me to pronounce some of these Japanese words because I feel like I'm doing a terrible disservice to them. Yeah, so we talk about Alphabet, Google, Amazon, PayPal Mafia, Y Combinator, Virgin, Team Apatow in Hollywood, and the Wu-Tang Clan as all examples of PACs and how they win. Let's see. Oh, there we go. PayPal Mafia. We got a little graphic in there. And then we have these are the folks at Y Combinator. Well, some people at Y Combinator. Yeah, this is it from Marty. Marty's quote. He's in Y Combinator, and he had a great overview of the benefit of being a Y Combinator around really the community, and then Wu-Tang Clan and how they were really a unique vision of many diverse talents with different projects, but how they all supported each other into this day, and they didn't really limit themselves that way. Talk a little bit about vision and where that sometimes goes wrong, and the importance of having the right vision and view of the world. Otherwise, someone will benefit from your work. And then, of course, the three types of groups that are the three types of what I say, or wolves in your wolf pack, your pack. This is the Brian, the founder of, oh my God, Airbnb? No, yeah, Airbnb. Brain for a second froze, and talks about the role of partnerships and community. Yeah, I won't bore you with those details, but that's essentially a quick little look at what the book's going to look like. You can go to Amazon, as I mentioned, and you can pre-purchase the Kindle version. The paperback will be out tomorrow, and I think hardcover is next week. What else is coming up? So just unrelated but related, for Founders Pack, if you would like to join, we have a really interesting Ask Me Anything with Ali Abbas from SEO Button. Ali has worked with a friend of mine, Lee, on his SEO for his various companies, including current marketing automation platform. And I was always of the opinion SEO is voodoo, but man, it's not voodoo to Ali. He's able to drive really interesting quality daily leads to a business over a period of time, and is very, very methodical. And he's going to share for Founders Pack members and anyone else that's interested in that in an Ask Me Anything, November 1st. I think it's at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific. And there's a Luma that I'll post in the comments. November 8th in Austin. It's Austin Startup Week next week. I will be in Austin the 6th to the 9th. And on the 8th at our Founders Pack house in South Lamar, 1605 Grayford Drive, we are going to have just a after party partnered with our friends. Let's see if I can pull up the Luma. That's probably helpful too. At Growth Channel. Shout out to Growth Channel. So this is going to double though as a book launch. So if I think for the first 20 people that come, assuming I have books, if I don't, I'll send them to you. So next week there's a lot of events in Austin around Startup Week. Shout out to them for doing some really interesting events. We're just going to have an after party at the house. We can fit quite a few people in there, and we've done a number, I think 3 or 4 events there now. Great location, 10 minutes outside of downtown. There's decent parking. Come for drinks. I think we're gonna, on the rooftop, we have a really cool rooftop. You can actually see a little bit of downtown Austin from there. We were talking, if it's not gonna rain anyway, that we're gonna get a telescope for that. So that might be fun. There'll be music and drinks, of course. And the first 20 people, you can come and I'll give out paperback copies of the book. And if you want to buy a signed copy of the book, we're only gonna sell them for $10. Or I'm going to sell them for $10. And our friends at Growth Channel are co-sponsoring this. And so if you're in Austin next week for Startup Week, please come by. I'll put the link to this also in, and you can register for that. All right. So just to reiterate, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for everyone that's gave me early feedback on the book and helped to make it better. Thank you to Elena for doing the amazing cover design, and to the team that did the inside formatting. I self-published to Amazon Kindle. So if you ever want, I actually have a little video course that I put together that said, here's how I self-published. So if you want that, let me know and send me a DM and I'll send you a link to that. Otherwise, look forward to tomorrow. I will do another live on the actual event day. I feel like tomorrow should be a book launch. So maybe you should post up an event if you want to come to a live book launch online. I don't know how many people do that, but that's probably a smart thing. I think I'm going to try that. And then thank you to everyone that agreed to provide an early review of the book and purchase an early copy. It's $9.99 for the Kindle version. You can use the Cloud Reader or the Kindle app on your Android or iOS phone. If you want to get paperback, I think it's $14.99. And then there will be a hardcover that I think is $24.99, and that's probably a week out. I think it's on the 4th or the 5th it comes out. And then the Audible, to be determined. I'm recording that right now. Yeah, I think it'll be pretty good. The Audible is kind of fun to do too, because you can kind of interject. You don't have to like read verbatim. So there's some extras in there. And then, yeah, speaking of extras, I guess let me know. I don't know. I was trying to come up with some ideas of bonuses to people that help out. So I'll come up with something by tomorrow that'll be fun. Thank you so much to all Founders Pack members, everyone that follows us on Twitter and LinkedIn. There's about 16,000 people on Twitter and about, I think, just under 11,000 on LinkedIn, 2,200 on YouTube. So for everyone that watches this, for everyone that participated in giving feedback on the book, and everyone that's been a member of Founders Pack, either come to a live event or an online event, thank you so much. You are my inspiration. I want to help. Well, what I keep saying is I want to help 1 million people start scalable ventures. And the idea behind Form Your Own Pack is that we can scale these in a new way, which is by cooperating, not competing. And there's always going to be competition between packs, and you got to compete in the marketplace. But I think we take that to an extreme, and that's one of the motivations, which is to show like, hey, these large corporations build a robust corporate structure. There's a way we can collaborate and cooperate with other ventures to make each other successful. All right. Well, thank you. Really appreciate everything, and look forward to tomorrow on the actual book launch day. And we will do a live tomorrow for the book launch. One.